Welcome to the Looney Lineup Podcast with your hosts, Colby Honey Badger Chawley and Mike the Wolf Young.
What's up, Loonatics, and welcome to episode 3 of the Looney Lineup Podcast. In today's episode, we got a special one for you. We are doing not one, but 2 mock drafts. In our first mock drafts, based off the Instagram polls, we are going to be drafting from the 4th for Colby and the 8th for me, and that is going to be a non-PPR draft. In the second draft we're going to be doing, Colby's drafting at the number 1 spot, and I'll be drafting at the number 12th spot, again, based off the Instagram polls, and we will be doing that one at full PPR as per some requests. So I guess before we dive into the mock drafts, Colby, I gotta ask you, what spot are you hoping for in your drafts this year, and what spot are you hoping to avoid?
So we talked about it in the last podcast, kind of, strategies that I like. I'm a big running back stable guy. So for me, I'm really comfortable anywhere from 2 to 4. So I'm actually kind of happy about the 4 spot. It seems unanimous across the boards. Guys are taking Jamar Chase at number 1. I am going to be taking a running back in the first round. It won't be a surprise to anybody. So I don't need the number 1 spot to get that guy typically, because especially, Bijan's getting a little bit more love than Saquon at the moment. So if I get a spot around 3, 4 is excellent. And if I get a spot at 12 or 10 to 12 is great. I like getting on the back end of the swing. I really want to avoid kind of being in the middle this year. There's a lot of arguments to be made about being in the middle is awesome because it's balanced. I also am a big fan of just being closer to the ends where I'm able to make 2 picks at once and actually have a bit more control that way of what's to come. So.
Yeah, I get that. It's funny that you say that because I'm kind of the opposite end of the spectrum here. I have the mock drafts that I've been doing throughout the preseason and the training camp and everything like that. I have not been happy with a single draft in the 1 to 3 or the 10 to 12 spots. I'm hoping for anywhere in the middle. And I do get the control aspect. Like if you ask any of the guys, like they're always like, oh, Mike always I usually every year I hope for an end spot. 10 to 12 is usually my sweet spot. But this year I have not been happy with a single mock draft I've done in that spot. So it's going to be interesting today since everyone decided to put me in the 12th spot. I'm okay with my 8th spot position, but my 12th spot, I don't know if I'm going to be happy with that one. People might be laughing at some of the picks I do, but I've done a little bit of experimenting, and this is where we're at right now.
Well, I'll be sure to roast you if I think you made a bad pick. So,
well, that's all I can ask for, right? That's all I can ask for.
All right, let's get this rolling.
Should we dive right in?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
I'm ready to go if you are.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's get into it. I will start the draft now. And remember, folks, this is a non-PPR draft. If you want
I feel like the beginning of the draft is going to be a standard. Even in standard scoring, we're going to see very similar top 5 picks. Okay. So, I guess, first ranked in standard, Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson at the 3, Justin Jefferson in the 4 for projected. I guess here we go. So the first overall pick goes to a computer, obviously. It's Jamar Chase and Bijan Jahmyr Gibbs at 3. So now it's me at the 4 spot in a standard league. This is a very easy decision for me. This is Saquon Barkley all day long.
Getting your boy right off the hop.
I'm getting my boy right off the hop. This is exactly what I explained beforehand, is that, I'm okay with getting it. I still believe he's the safest pick of the first round. Now we're going back. CeeDee Lamb goes at the 5 spot. Justin Jefferson at 6. Puka Nacua at 7. Now we're on to Mike Young at the 8 spot. Mike, what spots are you looking at here?
Well, I'm similar to you. I like to utilize my first pick on a running back 9 times out of 10. Obviously circumstantial and depending on what the year is like, but this year it's kind of been it's been leaning that direction. And if I'm looking at the running back tier list right now and going through my options here, Well, after this, we're recording here on Friday, August 8th here, so we did get to see a little bit of the preseason games last night, and
Also, to our viewers on the right hand side here, we can see who's available and who's not. Obviously, the ones that are crossed out have been drafted so far. I'll be flipping between the draft board and the actual available players right now. But right now, we're looking at the available running backs from the slot that Mike's in right now.
yeah, and for people that are just listening, that means nothing to you, but if you want to see what we're talking about, feel free to view the video on either Spotify video or the YouTube channel.
We won't leave you hanging completely there. We'll let you know exactly kind of what's going on, who's been going where, interesting spots that maybe people will go a little higher or lower than normal. But yeah, check us out on YouTube.
So obviously in a regular draft, you're not going to have 10 minutes to draft, but just for our sake right now, we gave ourselves a little bit of buffer time to explain what's going on. So for my pick out of the options here, I don't really trust GT yet. He's not proven. And I don't want to utilize my first pick on something that is not proven personally. And if anyone's seen my post on Instagram, I'm a little bit hesitant of the Band-Aid Christian McCaffrey. And so I'm going to go tried and true, and I'm going to go Derrick Henry as my pick.
Derrick Henry at the 8th spot. Very nice. We'll go back to our draft board here. So following Henry, McCaffrey goes off the board. We have Malik Neighbors, and then it swings around here. Players, Nico Collins is gone. Devon Achane is gone. Next up here, let's take a look. So
and we're
Mike
going
is back on
to me, and this is an interesting one for me because there's some options here. I could go with the back-to-back running back strategy. That's always a good choice. I could start to look at some of the star receivers, see if that's something that I'm interested in. But my top receiver that I have as an option right now is Drake London. And this goes back to my previous comment of I think Drake London's going to be good. I think the Falcons are going to have a decent offense this year, but Penix isn't proven yet. Penix, this could be the year for Pitts. We don't know what's going to happen here. So out of my options available, and me being a Colts fan, Taylor's grasping at my arm right now. I might be going with him, but I might pull off the strategy this round and go Lamar Jackson with the Derrick Henry combo. And that way I know anytime they're within 5 yards, I'm getting points. And they're going to be a high-scoring offense like they've been in the past. I'm not usually one to reach for a quarterback this early. Even round 3 is usually too early for me. But because of my first pick, I think the combo deal, I don't think Lamar Jackson's making it back to me in the third. So
I don't think so either,
to protect that pick.
No, and that's a fair bet, and that's kind of like we explained in the last episode as well. I had an idea about having Saquon and Jalen Hurts right now, so I am, these next few picks to see if any quarterbacks start going. I kind of thought that I might be able to get Jalen Hurts possibly on the swing back, not the one that's coming right now. So following your pick with Lamar Jackson at the 205 spot, Brock Bowers goes. I think you and I can agree it's just too early for a tight end there. I'm not a fan of this spot of getting Brock Bowers is a great player, but there's just too many other options that are safer. We discussed last episode about how rare it is for tight ends to repeat being the number one tight end. Does he have a good chance of doing it? Yes, but are you missing out on some pretty good players here? I think so, particularly the running back spot, because I think what we've seen here is a lot of wide receivers are gone now and a lot of the elite backs are gone. So, the team 7 here who took Brock Bowers at the 206 is going to be having a real tough time finding a decent running back on the way back. So now back to me at the 209 spot. I'm going to take a look here, actually, and we have a couple options. We're still seeing decent quarterbacks out there. We're still seeing some really good running backs are kicking around. Jonathan Taylor obviously sitting there looking at him, possibly a reliable guy. I'm a big believer in going with, true and tried offenses. Right now, we are looking at an off season where Chase Brown seems to be the guy with the workload in Cincinnati. I'm going to be taking Chase Brown and going RB to start off this draft.
You know what? And that's actually not a bad. That's a good thing that you pointed it out there, because having the tried and true offenses is also, it's dependent on what kind of player you're looking for. Because like teams that are on offense and they're winning majority of games, that running back is going to be fed and he's going to keep
Yep.
working and working and working. But the teams that are trailing, that's when it's nice to have a not tried and true offense because they have to
Sure.
throw. They have to get those big yards. They can't waste the clock anymore. They got to get the ball down the field as fast as possible. So sometimes when you're going for a wide receiver, it's better to have the team that you might suspect be trailing. For example, like a Neighbors on the Giants, that's going to be a hell of a pick just because you know that he's going to have to be utilized. And don't quote me on that. The Giants could pull off a miracle this year. I don't see it.
Well, Neighbors is a great pick because of the fact that if they're going to be playing from behind, you know, you're likely going to be getting more receptions there, right? So Neighbors is a great pick. I mean, especially in a PPR league. I mean, he's obviously an amazing receiver. Then as soon as they figure out the quarterback position, possibly some offensive line stuff, that's a scary pick. He's no question a top fantasy wide receiver in my mind. So following my Chase Brown pick at the 209 spot, Drake London goes off the board, Bucky Irving, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Allen. So there goes Allen at the 301. Back on team one there, who's now the first overall pick. His team as of now is Jamar Chase, Jonathan Taylor, and Josh Allen. A pretty good looking squad off the hop. That's a pretty scary one to keep an eye out for. Following that one, we have Kyron Williams and George Kittle. So another tight end goes back to me now at the 304 spot. For me, I got to go back to exactly what I said in the last podcast that I'm going to be going for the stack. I can't risk him going another round here without me taking him. I'm going to be taking Jalen Hurts here. This, again, going right back to your point about Henry and Jackson, we've done the exact same thing here. I like that we have the same mindset on that because it does work, and it's something that a lot of people are looking at. People are way more dedicated to getting the wide receiver and quarterback stack, but I don't think that if you can get a bell cow back and a good fantasy quarterback, it's just as effective. So going back to our draft board here, following my Jalen Hurts pick, Mike Evans off the board, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. Now we're back to Mike at the 308 spot. Mike, so you've got Henry and Jackson stack. Tell us what you're thinking about here.
Yeah, so see, this is one of the struggles with taking a quarterback at the number 2 is I'm losing a lot of those high point scorers in the second round, whether it's a receiver or running back. Those guys are going to be your stable that are building up your points on a week-to-week basis. So I'm kind of running through my head here, and I'm battling between I'm going with a running back or a wide receiver, and I have to kind of see where I kind of want to fall in that.
And as we scroll through the available like players right now, just so the people who aren't watching can see or at least understand what's going on, players that are available right now, the top ranked as far as
via Fantasy Pros,
Fantasy Pro rankings right now, T Higgins is the top available spot. Followed by Trey McBride, Tyreek Hill, and then we go into the tier 5 guys now, which are Devontae Adams, Smith and Jigba, Jaden Daniels, James Cook. That's kind of what we're looking at the moment. And Mike right now is under the gun to decide how he's going to start shaping his team up.
So this is where one thing that I'm kind of hesitant about this year is taking a number 2 wide receiver in the first 3 rounds.
I completely agree.
So like that takes T Higgins off the board for me. That takes Devontae Adams off the board for me. And I'm not going to get a tight end yet. I'm not big on getting a tight end this early in a draft. I don't think they produce enough points for it to be valuable. When you're looking at the comparison of, for example, Tyreek Hill, where his ceiling can be 30 plus points within a week, I don't see many tight ends doing that on a week-to-week basis. Whereas we've seen with wide receivers and running backs, it's easy to consistently get plus 20. So I'm at the point now. So if I was to go wide receiver, I'd probably be leaning for Tyreek Hill. But because I used my second pick on Jackson, I think I might be going with similar to what you kind of did in your last picks there, or in your second pick, is getting another workhorse running back on a winning team. And I'm a little bit hesitant because I'm not sure if he's going to be as productive as I want him to be, but I do know he's going to produce. So I'm going with James Cook in the 3 for Buffalo.
Yeah, it's a safe pick. I think it's no secret that year to year, the correlation of running back production and team, offensive efficiency, they go hand in hand. Like even sometimes, I heard a really good quote on a podcast the other day where, a fellow said, the running back talent doesn't necessarily correlate as much to the fantasy points that they produce. It's the offense that they do. Year to year, the top offenses produce the best fantasy football players, but particularly in the running back position, because there's going to be spots where they're punching it in within the 5 yard line. They're going to score points and they're going to be moving the ball efficiently. So you're almost better off to take the less talented back on a better offense than going for, say, a high end back that's on a lower end team, such as Vegas and stuff like that. It kind of goes back to your point about Genty, that we're not quite tried and true in that new offense, new quarterback, new coach. We don't know what to expect. It's a risky first round pick. So yeah, I mean, we're going back here again. So let's see here. So players that followed Mike after his James Cook, Trey McBride off the board, Omari and Hampton. It looks like that's the second rookie off the board now. Other players that have gone here, Alvin Kamara is now gone, Chuba Hubbard, Tyreek Hill, and we're back to Mike at the 405 spot. So Mike, you've led off with 2 running backs and a quarterback. We're in the exact same boat this way. Tell us who you're thinking here at this swing pot, because you're not going to be getting another pick here for at least, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, another 14, 15 picks.
Yeah, exactly. So right now I'm in a little bit of desperation mode for a receiver. That's kind of where I'm at. I have my 2 core running backs. I have a quarterback that I trust. I know that my running stable is at least at a decent spot right now, and I can only hope for things to look up for me in the future. And I have to point this out here, is no one ever wins their league off of a draft. You get your stable. You can lose a league off of a draft, but you can't win it. And with this now, I'm at the point now where I need a little bit of comfort in some other positions. So again, going back to my previous point, I'm not looking for a number 2 receiver to be my top receiver on my team. So I think out of my options available, the options that I'd be between, and a lot of things are hesitant on this, but the options I'm between are probably JSN. I'm interested in Marvin Harrison this year. I think that he put up similar numbers to his dad, and his dad's a Hall of Famer. So like, I think people...
Yeah, and he's super young too, right? I mean, like, I'm looking right now, he's age 23, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So last year, being a 22-year-old fresh in the league on an offense that's not exactly quite there yet. Obviously, he's got a talented quarterback, but maybe a full year helps him a lot. And you know what? I saw some photos recently of him in camp. It looks like he put on some weight. That's good to see too. He looks a lot more buff, which is, now he's going to have a bit more juice when it comes to those battling one-on-one situations.
That's exactly it. And they say a lot of times that, like, when it comes to receivers, you want them to bulk up. But when you see a running back bulk up, that's a scary situation to be at. You kind of it's very dependent, but usually if a running back bulks up, they decrease in value. When a receiver bulks up, they usually increase in value statistically. It's not a guaranteed thing, but it's something to pay attention to. And
it goes 2 ways. Like, they're going to get playing time, because if you bulk up, you're going to be a little bit more effective in pass blocking and actually getting downfield to create spots for your running back to get opened up. You're going to get more opportunities and being staying on the field. That being said, sometimes there's going to be run plays called, and quarterback can take a look at the line and say, you know what, we're going to pass this thing. That's good, because now we're on the field, right? The more snap percentage, the better for fantasy.
Exactly. But yeah, with all that being said, I think my safest bet here, even with the new quarterback there, and this guy he proved that he can be an elite quarterback in this league. And I think with the weapons that Seattle has, it could be an interesting mix. I think JSN is my safest pick for my first receiver in the 4th round.
Okay. Excellent. So JSN at the 405 for Mike. Following Mike's pick, Jaden Daniels goes. David Montgomery. I don't know what you think about this. I think David Montgomery here in the 4th round is way too early. There's a lot of signs pointing that Gibbs is going to be getting a heavier workload this year. Montgomery's going to score touchdowns, and he's going to get work. It just seems as though they're going to be utilizing Gibbs's skill set a lot more.
I agree 100%. Yeah. I think that Gibbs is going to be their clear number 1 this year. I think last year it was Montgomery was always listed as the number 1, but it was 100% a split backfield. And without Ben Johnson there too, I don't think that they have as much flexibility in their playbook that they did in the past. They're obviously going to still use a lot of the things that Ben Johnson left behind, but they'd be fools to leave the same playbook when Ben Johnson's going to be competing against them. So it's going to be a little bit different. But all that being aside, I do agree. I think David Montgomery is going to be scoring touchdowns. He's just not going to be getting yards. And that's you might be getting 6 to 10 points on a regular basis with him if he gets a touchdown and 40 yards, but it's not going to be that guy that you want. And as a 4th round pick, 10 to 15 yards isn't usually what you're aiming for. So I think that's a little bit early for him.
I think what we're going to be looking at a lot with Montgomery here moving forward is we're going to be getting a lot more LeGarrette Blount about 5 to 10 years ago, like 5 to 8 years ago is when LeGarrette Blount was super fantasy relevant. But the thing is his stat line would look very similar every week. What we basically have is we'd have LeGarrette Blount for 12 rushes and 2 touchdowns, and he'd have 30 yards. But that's a great fantasy week, right? But as far as the regular workload, I do agree. We're going to see that go down a lot. Following Montgomery here at the 408 spot, out of the 5 slot, Isaiah Pacheco. I think a lot of question marks up with Pacheco right now. They've got quite the backfield now. Hunt's still there. Is it Elijah Moore? No, Elijah. Who's the third round? Who's the third back there right now? They picked someone up, but I wonder about that team. Kansas City they're gonna want to score more points than they did last season. I just don't know how much consistency we're gonna get from Pacheco. Do they have like an actual stable where they're just rotating all these backs and different packages? I think that
you were thinking of
Elijah
Mitchell.
Elijah Mitchell, my bad. Correct though, but let's just assume that 3 of them are going to be used, and I think that's going to be happening. I find that a bit risky to take him there that early. There's just safer picks right now. Okay, so back to me here now at the 410 spot. This will be the 409 spot. So this will be my 4th pick right now. I've got Saquon Barkley, Chase Brown, and Jalen Hurts out of the 4 spot. For me right now, this is an obvious decision. I need to go receiver here. I can't let this go any farther. T. Higgins still available. But I do agree with your point. I don't want a second receiver as my number 1 receiver. T. Higgins is a very reliable number 2. I don't want him to be a number 1. I think what I'm going to be doing here is taking a little bit of a gamble. What I'm going to be doing here is I am going to take Marvin Harrison in the hopes that, let's keep the trajectory up. I think Marvin Harrison has a better season. He's got a whole other year with Kyler Murray, more chemistry there. Now that the coaches know his skill set a bit better, we're going to be able to scheme him better. Not going to be the most popular pick here, I'm sure. But at the same time, I'm willing to take the gamble. What I'm doing here is I'm hoping that down the swing, I'm going to get a piece of Courtland Sutton. We're looking at the board again here. We got a couple backs left, but not much. Let's go up to the running back position right now. So just for everyone's note here, we are, just over midway in the 4th round, and these are the running backs that you're looking at. DeAndre Swift in Chicago, Travion Henderson, RJ Harvey, Aaron Jones, Tony Pollard. Your elite backs are gone. They're gone. You can maybe argue that Swift might have a good season, but it's a risk. Travion Henderson, a rookie. RJ Harvey, a rookie. Do you want your RB1 to be one of these guys? If not, don't draft a wide receiver in the 1st or 2nd round. Take a running back, at least one good one.
Yeah, you need at least one running back in round 1 and 2. That's kind of the consensus you and me agree on. All right, so you're going with Harrison?
I'm gonna be taking Marvin Harrison here. So now we're gonna swing back. Looks like after following the Marvin Harrison pick, there goes T. Higgins. Joe Burrow's off the board now. Terry McLaurin goes. RJ Harvey, Adams, Henderson. I would have loved if Adams came around here. That would have been an easy pick for me to take Adams as my wide receiver too. As we mentioned in the last episode, it's an undeniable talent, and this is the best coach he's going to be with. And a great quarterback. They're going to score points. He's not going to be a dud. He might not be what he used to be, but he's going to be consistent. Right now, to me, there's one glaring, obvious decision to do here. Available players that are kind of in the top of the list right now: DK Metcalf, DJ Moore, Sutton, Zay Flowers, Worthy, Devontae Smith, Laporta. This to me, we've talked about him before already, but Bo Nix. is going to take a massive step forward this season. I know Sean Payton was making comments recently that he thinks that this could possibly be a Super Bowl team. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the Super Bowl team. I definitely believe that they're a playoff team. I think Bo Nix is ridiculously talented. The arm strength's there. It's going to be a Cortland Sutton pick for me here. It's another number one wide receiver in a great offense with a great coach. These guys are going to score points. Sutton is the number one guy there. He's an easy pick for me here.
Perfect. Yeah. And just to keep things speeding along here, because we are already halfway through our recording. So,
okay.
Back to me now. We are now at the 508, and after Colby's pick, we got Tony Pollard, Joe Mixon, and DeAndre Swift. And it's funny, while these picks were waiting here, DeAndre Swift was on my radar, and I know Colby said it's a little bit of a gamble, but for me, with Ben Johnson moving there, I think that DeAndre Swift's draft value just went up. I think Ben Johnson is such a phenomenal coach. Even if you've seen any of their training camp, he has been putting the boys to work. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But since he's gone, I think I have to go. He was my next running back, and I'm not into Jones, Robinson, Caleb Johnson. They're not really the guys that I'm wanting. So I'm going to go back to my receiver board. And actually, with my comment about DeAndre Swift having more value, I think DJ Moore is also going to have more value. So I'm going to get DJ Moore here as my 509.
Yep, I think DJ Moore's got nowhere to go but up. Last season seemed to be a bit frustrating for him. All right. So back following Mike's DJ Moore pick, DK Metcalf, Jones, Johnson, Tyrone Tracy, Mahomes, Laporta, Murray, and Brian Robinson. So, just looking at this again, we're just seeing in the fourth to fifth round an influx of running back panic happening here. At this point, there's no more legit number one running backs. The top running back on the board as of the sixth round, Jaylen Warren, Jordan Mason, Travis Etienne, Javonte Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, Tank Bigsby. These are all number twos. You can make an argument that Warren might start the season as a number one, but we all know Johnson's going to probably end up taking that over.
Yeah.
Travis Etienne, the only true one here.
Exactly.
And even that, Tank Bigsby's only a couple spots behind him.
taking over that spot here.
Yeah, at the very least, they're going to be splitting a lot more. Bigsby had a lot of good, promise last year.
He did have a lot of promise. I think that the year of ETN, personally, I think it's over. I think Bigsby's taking that spot. It might not be in the first week, but I think by weeks 3 to 6, you're going to see Bigsby take over the workload. Sure. But yeah, now back to me. I'm at the 605, and because of the way that I drafted my team, I kind of have a little bit of flexibility. I have 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and a quarterback. So I'm not reaching for tight end yet. Some might think it's crazy. It's just not my style. There's tight ends that'll give me the points that I need, and that's kind of what I'm looking for them. So I'm going to go back. I'm battling between wide receiver and running back again. I'm building my stables and my 2 core positions that build me the most points. So for me in this position, I personally think that Jordan Mason is going to take over the starting role in Minnesota.
Okay.
So he would be the running back
that I'd go for.
Or if I wanted to get a second receiver, I do know that Philly's going to be scoring, but this goes back to my early point of they're going to be leading. So are they going to be needing to throw for the full duration of the game? So right. I think I'm going to go with, I think Minnesota's going to be leading offense, having a running back there. I'm picking Jordan Mason.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good pick. I mean, Mason showed that, number one, when Christian McCaffrey was out last year in San Francisco, he could take the load on, and he was very efficient. Great running back. He's only 26 years old still. He's got a lot of juice left in the tank. Following the Mason pick, Rashee Rice goes. That actually might be a good value spot for Rashee Rice there in the 6th round. Obviously, there's some question marks in the air about his off-field situation, but Travis Kelce goes. Baker Mayfield. I feel this is way too early for Baker Mayfield. I would never take him here in the 6th round. There's just too many other weapons that you can get that actually, will help your team in the long run. And still, going back to the quarterbacks, Bo Nix is still sitting here. I personally, I'm taking Bo Nix over Baker Mayfield all day, but that's just me. Back to my spot here. So I'm in the 609 spot with coming up on the swing. Again, this for me, this looks like an easy selection for me. Playing Players available right now: Zay Flowers, Worthy, Devontae Smith, George Pickens, Calvin Ridley, Jalen Waddle, McMillan in Carolina, Mark Andrews. We don't need a quarterback. I'm not quite prepared to take a tight end yet at this point. It seems like I could still get some pretty good value elsewhere. Like right now, Hawkinson's available at the tight end, Mark Andrews. Baltimore's tight end situation's a bit messy right now. I'd be weary about taking either one of those guys. I know likely has a foot injury right now that might put him out a bit of time.
I think they said likely up to 6 weeks. So
there you go.
That makes it a little bit more easy in the Baltimore situation because at least you're getting value out of Andrews for the first 6 weeks. But who's to know what's going to happen after that?
Yep, exactly. So for me, I'm sticking with my guns that you want players on good offenses that they're going to score points. I'm going to be taking Zay Flowers here, age 24. This is when they start coming into their prime, is that 24 to 25. Last year, maybe you couldn't quite consider him a wide receiver one. Fortunately for me, I've already got my wide receiver one. I've got a Cortland Sutton, I've got a Marvin Harrison, and I got a Zay Flowers, all good offenses. Maybe you could argue that Harrison's not proven yet, but those are 3 pretty safe picks in my mind.
Exactly. And then after Colby's Zay Flowers pick, we got Jalen Warren going, Devontae Smith, Xavier Worthy, Travis Etienne goes, Tet McMillan, and Bo Nix flies off the board in team 3.
Bo Nix at the 7th round, 3rd pick is a pretty good spot.
Good spot. I think that's good value. Now back to you.
Yeah, so here we go. We're now available players. So looking at my actual roster right now, I've gotten Hurts, Barkley, Chase Brown, Marvin Harrison, Cortland Sutton, and Zay Flowers in my flex spot as of now. Right now, we can start kind of playing with what your plan is down the road here. I don't have any problem here with taking guys that are, a little bit unproven because I've already got a core. My core is complete. So I can kind of take some bench players here. I've got the quarterback done. I don't really feel like I'm going to be taking a tight end here. So for example, I don't find that this is a crazy spot to take a stab at Travis Hunter. He's sitting right here looking at me in the face. It's going to be a Travis Hunter pick. We don't really know much about him, but the thing is, with the way that I've built my team so far, I don't need to rely on Travis Hunter. He's on my bench, and if he ends up being a superstar, great.
Exactly. And then after Travis Hunter, J.K. Dobbins goes. I think that's a decent pick. I think he's going to be splitting the workload with R.J. Harvey. Jared Goff goes. Javonte Williams goes. And now it's my pick again. And with my team, I have my stable positions figured out and set. So I'm in the same boat as Colby here, where I'm ready to take some risks. I'm ready to build my weapons that could be. And that's kind of a fun place to be. But before I get to that spot, I was really hoping that this swing came to me. And with me picking up DJ Moore a couple picks ago, I was hoping to get Rome Odunze, because I think with that offense again, I'm not too sure. And because I don't have to start both of them. I already have my starters set. Now that I have Rome Odunze and Moore going, I am kind of set for the Chicago offense if Ben Johnson proves me right. So I'm taking Rome Odunze.
Odd strategy there, though. Can you explain that a little bit more about taking 2 receivers within a few rounds of each other on the same team? I know you kind of said, the Ben Johnson thing. Are you kind of hoping that maybe one of these guys outperforms the other, or like it's like you're just getting better odds that somebody on that offense is going to take over?
So I don't think we saw enough of Rome Odunze last year, but I do think that he didn't get to prove himself as much as he should be. I thought before even last year's draft, there was big hype talking about Rome Odunze, and I think it was there for a good reason. He proved himself to be a good player in college, and I'm waiting to see him emerge in the NFL. And I think once you clear that buffer year, you're kind of ready to kind of take those steps and take those chances. And with a combination of, like I said, Ben Johnson being there, I'm not sure which one is going to be the wide receiver one by the end of the season. So now that I have both of them and one of them can always be a backup, I'm kind of set. And then if they both start producing, then I have some trade ammo. So it's kind of one of those positions where, because again, taking a little bit of risk, I have my stable, I'm kind of set in my core positions. Now, which one of those guys do I play each week? Who knows? But if one of them takes over, I have the handcuff ready to go.
Yep. No, makes total sense there. Okay, so you're back to your pick here at the 805 spot.
Back to my pick here. So after Rome Odunze, Caleb Williams went. Quinshon Judkins, Dak Prescott, Najee Harris, George Pickens, Cam Scatterbo, Calvin Ridley, and Jerry Jeudy. Now back to me. Now again, kind of like what Colby was saying, we have that flexibility with our offenses with our fantasy teams, that we're kind of in that position to take some gambles. And like I said, I think Tank Bigsby is going to be the starter. I think Travis Etienne is out. So Tank Bigsby being here for me, that's an easy pick for me.
Okay. Tank Bigsby off the board. Okay, following the Tank Bigsby pick, more running back, Charbonnet, Stevenson, Olave goes now back to me at the 809 spot. So this is a spot I plan on reaching right now. This is where I start thinking, you know what, we've gotten the core down. Now we're building some depth. I don't need to take a tight end yet. They're not going to be any use for me here. Possibly Andrews, but I'm just not quite willing to take that risk. Top rated guy available right now is Jalen Waddle. Now, while there's a lot of speculation that he's actually turning into the number one receiver there, I'm not quite ready to take that gamble yet. What I am willing to do, though, is based on all the noise that we're hearing in camp, and I'm sure people have seen a lot of videos of this guy just cooking DBs in practice right now. I'm going to be taking a reacher, and I'm going to take Matthew Golden. To now, I have. This is a reach, by the way. His ADP is quite a bit lower than this. He's wide receiver 44 on ADP. I'm going to be taking a reach. I cannot risk him getting by me here. I think this guy's a superstar.
I agree. I think that's a good pick. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay, back to me again at the 904. Cooper Kupp off the board. Godwin's gone. So for me now, I'm looking for some running back depth. Right now, as of now, like my squad right now, we got Hurts, Barkley, Brown, Harrison, Cortland Sutton, and then on our bench we've got Travis Hunter, Golden. Zay Flowers is in our flex position. I have room here to take a running back. I have enough receivers at these. This is my receiver core. Down the road here, we're gonna be able to maybe take a stab at like a late round guy or something like that. But right now, we're gonna be looking for some running back depth. Obviously, not much to be choosing from at this point here. Things that are sticking out to me that are available. Ray Davis in Buffalo, guy's gonna get some goal line touches for sure. Jerome Ford, this is one that makes, as of today, on August 8th, this is one that we've had some news about Judkins coming out that his lawyer has said that they are waiving their right to a speedy trial. Now, the Browns have expressed that they're not going to be signing this guy until his legal stuff is completed. The Browns have a history of taking on guys like this that they just criminals and they have no idea what they're doing. But I think that there's a chance that Judkins doesn't even play this year, and there's a very good chance that he's suspended for a minimum of 4 games. I'm going to take Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford could have a load to start the season off here. So,
and like you said, with that news,
it's a bench player. It's a bench player for me. Maybe things happen. He's just depth, right? He's gonna be getting touches.
Yeah, exactly. All right, now we're back to me. So after Colby's pick there, we had Juwan Jennings, Jaden Reed, and Rashad White go off the board. And for me, I think me and Colby draft quite similarly a lot of the times. Similarly but different, let's say. But I am now taking my stab at a rookie that I've been watching. I think he's phenomenal. Training camp has shown him doing some good things. I'm going with Emeka Egbuka from Tampa Bay.
Okay.
I think
a lot of hype about this guy right now.
Yeah, and I think with Baker being his quarterback, we know that Baker has an arm. We know that Baker puts up yards. We don't know what it's going to be this season. We don't know if Baker hit his ceiling last year, but we do know that he can produce. And I think Emeka Egbuka is going to be a good fit in that offense.
He's also going to be learning behind Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Like, those are great mentors to have, right?
Exactly.
So I like the pick. Okay, so Mike goes with Mbuka, and then it comes back to him. A couple other players that have swung off the board. Jaden Blue is an interesting one. A lot of people, he's been flying up his ADP lately. The Dallas rookie running back here. I find him in a very odd spot. I still think that's a bit risky to take him there. Miles Sanders is there. Javonte Williams is also there. I don't know. It's a bit risky, but not a bad play. Nick Chubb is now gone. And back to you at the 10:05 now. What are you thinking here now that you've got pretty good depth everywhere from the looks of it? I actually quite like your team. What's the thought process at this point?
Now my thought process is, well, I've waited long enough to get a tight end. And right now I don't want to leave it too long here. And out of my options here, I'm looking at Mark Andrews, which we already discussed, Njoku, Tucker Kraft, Evan Engram, Tyler Warren, and I think all of those guys that I just listed are going to be at least the point. I want 10 points a week out of a tight end. If I could get 10
Yeah.
points a week out of a tight end, I am a happy man. I've said that before and I'll say it again. That's usually my goal with tight ends, so I don't reach for them. 10th round, I'm happy to start going here. And to be honest, I think Njoku is going to be a little hidden gem this year.
Yeah.
Like I said, any of these guys could be the right pick, but I'm going with my gut here and taking a Joku.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great pick there. And this is where it seems like, what round are we here now? We are now officially in the like end of the 10th round. This is where you start seeing a big influx of tight ends go. I do agree with Mike here that I don't really want to be waiting much longer, because it seems to be we're going to get a bit of a tight end rush here. Hawkinson going this round and Joku's now gone. Now I feel like if you're in a normal league, this is where a bit of panic sets in. People start like want to get their tight end spot locked up. I can't really risk letting another one go farther. Tight ends available right now are Mark Andrews, Tucker Kraft, Engram, Warren. I'm going to be taking a gamble here. Not necessarily a gamble, but I'm going to be taking Tyler Warren here. In the worst case that things don't work out in Indianapolis, you're just going to have to get crafty streaming tight ends on a week-to-week basis. But I think that the upside is huge with him. So 10th round pick, pretty happy with that. Mooney goes, Higgins, Braylon Allen gone now. So back to me at 1104. Now we're starting to see another like little rush of quarterbacks here. This is where the last of the good ones kind of go. Brock Purdy's here. Justin Herbert's still on the board. Kincaid, Lawrence is still sitting there. I'm going to be taking another one that this isn't exactly something I would have planned for, but I think that the fact that he's fallen this far, taking a backup quarterback this early is probably not a popular opinion, but I think the star power of JJ McCarthy is just too big right now. I've been talking a lot about him. This could be an asset that I keep down the road for a trade down the line, and I'm for sure solid at the quarterback now. Great offenses. I just don't really like the other available options here at this point for depth. I'm okay with taking an absolute stud at quarterback as a backup. So now I've got my backup receivers, I've got backup running backs, I got my backup quarterback locked down right now. Especially McCarthy, if he ends up being a superstar, he's a trade piece for me.
And it's funny that you say that, because I'm in the same kind of thought process right now. I've been looking at the quarterbacks as you've been talking there and seeing kind of who I wanted to go with next and who was my next guy. And I've been thinking about it a lot, and I have this weird gut feeling that Justin Fields, I think I talked about it in one of the last podcasts here, but I think I have a feeling that Justin Fields is gonna come off and be something this year. I think this is finally his year. I think the pieces are falling into place.
Of now, he is the top ranked guy available on the board as far as ADP and everything goes. So
yeah, exactly. And even that he's day to day, well, that doesn't matter to me because I have Lamar Jackson, so I don't need him right away. It's nice to have a little bit of backup in the score position. So I'm going with Justin Fields as my 11th pick.
Okay, very good. Okay, back to the board here. So there goes Garendo. That's a shame because I was kind of hoping Garendo would fall back to me, because that's a great handcuff to be kicking around in case CMC gets hurt again this season. But now we're back on to you at the 12th.
Back on me.
1205.
4 picks left. I'm missing 2 positions. Am I going for those 2 positions? No. I am going to keep building up my depth in my running back and receiver core. So after taking a look at what we have here, in the running backs, Tyler Algiers right at the top, Jalen Wright, Dylan Sampson. There's not really a ton that I want here, but I will take a little stab here and go with Kareem Hunt, actually.
Yeah, I think that's a safe pick. He's going to get touches. They re-signed him. He had success with them last year. For this late in the draft, Kareem Hunt's a great pick. When he got signed last year, he was the number 1 waiver wire option. He was, that Kansas City offense is all about short chunks. He's going to get the ball for sure. I like your pick there. Following me here. So Andrew's off the board now. Drake May's now gone. You've obviously taken Kareem Hunt available for me right now. Looking at it, top ranked guys, Tucker Kraft, I don't really need him. Um, Kyle Pitts sitting right there looking at me. He could have high upside.
He's your boy.
He's my boy. Yeah. Rain it on me. I don't care. To solidify a backup tight end that has high upside, but he's my backup. I don't need to play him. I'm doing it. Taking Kyle Pitts here.
There you go. And that's actually a good pick
Taking
for you.
Kyle
Like
Pitts there.
Kyle Pitts, I know that he's
I don't need to rely on him this year.
The talk of the town, and you took a risk with your Tyler Warren pick. So it's kind of nice to have a little bit of stability and safety there.
Yeah, and you know what? And this goes back to my point about taking JJ McCarthy where I did. If both of these guys end up being even half decent, I can trade one of them down the stretch. It's fine with me, right? So, so now left up to you here. 1304 here for me. Jalen Wright's available here. I'm not quite sold on that. He could be a very good play if HN was to get hurt. I don't really like relying on people getting hurt to use them. Other options that are kind of intriguing to me. McMillan sitting here with Tampa Bay. A lot of people thinking that he's going to get buried. I might be kind of on that boat now, and the training camp in Buca has been kind of a new sensation there. Godwin's healthy. Evans, I don't really want to be touching him. Let's go back here, see what we have available at running back. Absolutely nothing.
Yep.
So Jalen Wright is the top option by quite a bit. One that does catch my eye quite a bit, and this is because of the preseason game that happened last night. Seattle played Oakland. Kendre Miller. Nope, sorry, got that. Keaton Mitchell. Sorry,
there you go. There you go.
Keaton Mitchell. He's right now the number 3 on the depth chart for Baltimore. He had a great game last night. Guy looked super explosive. He's coming off injury. He's super young. He's 23 years old.
He ripped my boys apart. So
he ripped you boys. But the thing about him is that if he ends up showing excellent signs, you have your absolute bell cow, Derrick Henry punching in things, and then they have a change of pace back. Justice Hill is there, but this Mitchell is clearly more explosive.
Mitchell's that guy that's going to be able to get on the outside. Derrick Henry, when he has his big runs, it's always through the middle. He's not going to be getting those pitches and counters. But
change of pace.
Mitchell's
it's
that
like
guy that's going to be
up
there, right? So it's nice to have him. And they can start doing a split back every now and then, and that's going to confuse the hell out of teams. Like, what are they going to do?
Keaton Mitchell, in my opinion, is going to end up being their change up. So I'm gonna be taking him there, and you know what? And knock on wood, because I never wish injury upon anybody. But if Derrick Henry was to miss some
that's
time,
my boy.
Keaton Mitchell is gonna dominate, and you'll be begging for a trade from me. So I'm gonna take him, hoping that you're gonna be crawling to me in the later days.
I would never crawl to you.
I bet. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Following that, Jalen Wright's gone. Christian Kirk off the board. Mike, you're in the 13th spot. We got 3 more picks each.
Yeah, and Marshawn Lloyd also went as a running back. So for me, I've been kind of eyeing this guy. I don't see him getting drafted in many leagues, and he's gonna be that guy it's Mr. Old Reliable. And if you look, like, where I'm kind of going with this is looking at Carolina's, I think, last 3 games last year. Bryce Young went 10 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. And I think
he was excellent down the stretch.
He was excellent, and I think having Adam Thielen as Mr. Reliable, everyone kind of forgets about him over the last couple of years just because he's not as relevant. But having a reliable guy with Bryce Young performing like he did, and fingers crossed, like I said, this
rookie there is scary. This
is my 13th.
He's going to be good.
So I am I'm stretching, I'm reaching, I'm hoping for things to happen. I'm going with Adam Thielen.
Okay, Adam Thielen, a little bit of a dart throw there, but I don't mind it because he is reliable, and at least we know that there's some good things coming there. So now we're starting to see first defense goes off the board in the 13th round. Denver Broncos are gone. Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys, and then the first kicker comes off the board right behind your 1405 pick, Brandon Aubrey. I think Brandon Aubrey's a good pick here. If there's only 2 picks left, you might as well get a good kicker in an indoor stadium. I'm a big believer in getting the indoor guys. Even guys like in Buffalo and stuff, I get a bit nervous about, especially come November, December, when these shitstorm snowstorms come in. Like, it's scary, right? You're end up missing out on some points. But 1405 here, Mike, 2 picks left. Who are you thinking?
1405. Yeah, so I am obviously going to pick a defense or a kicker.
Yeah.
I saw a
Yeah, you have to at this
lot
point.
of good things out of Pittsburgh's defense last year. I
Hmm.
think that they are still on the same pace. They didn't make too many changes that's going to affect that skill level, in my opinion. I think they're going to be relying on their defense a little bit more, so that's a little bit scary. But out of the 3 and 4 spot for Steelers or Ravens is kind of be who I'd be between. Baltimore got some points scored on them through the running game last year, or through the
Yeah.
air game last year, not through the
Yeah, a
run
lot
game.
of
They had a
shootouts that
good,
last year.
yeah. So, and I just don't want to risk that chance. I think my safest bet here is to take a good defense in Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I would have taken them if you didn't there either. So a couple more defenses go off the board here. Minnesota's defense goes. Let's see what else we have flying off. Yeah, there it is. Here comes the rush of defenses. You get, fortunately, the front of it there. Minnesota's gone. Washington's gone. Baltimore is now gone. I have to take a defense here. Um, Kansas City's defense, pretty good defense still. Obviously, they got absolutely chopped up by the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Go Birds! But I do think that they're pretty solid defense. So is Buffalo's, though. I feel like Buffalo gets themselves in more shootouts, though. So does Houston. I'm going to take Kansas City here.
I like it. They had to rely on their defense a lot last year, and they did a good job of it. Obviously, they made it to the Super Bowl, so something worked there. I think that's a good
Of course.
pick. I think that's good safety.
Couple more kickers flying off the board here. Jake Bates in Detroit. That would have been my pick if it came to me. Indoor stadium, high scoring offense. That's an easy pick if it came back to me. Unfortunately, it did not. The last kickers I got available for my last pick here. Okay, let's scroll to them. Where are our kickers? Let's go.
Will Lutz, Chase McLaughlin, Cam
Yeah, there we go.
Butker.
Yeah, so Lutz is actually a good choice here, but again, outdoor stadium, I get a little bit nervous about these guys. I'm going to go with Keem Fairbairn from Houston. I think they're going to score indoor stadium and a somewhat reliable offense. You know, he's going to be in situations where they're not going to quite get down to the end zone, but they're going to be in that 20 to 35 yard range. And he's going to get opportunities at 50-yard field goals. I'll take him there all day.
Perfect. And then coming to me for my final pick of the draft, well, my options here, actually the guy that I wanted is here. And as much as you said you like the indoor stadiums, I don't mind the outdoor stadiums in the warm weather. So I think Tampa Bay is going to be a high scoring offense. I'm going with McLaughlin.
Yep. And that's a reliable pick too. Decent team on Tampa Bay here. So quick summary here.
Talk about some draft analysis here, because I know you and me have a lot to say. And before we get to that, though, I will say this: we are running out of time this episode. We promise you guys we will do another recording for a 1st and 12th draft. It's just we don't want to keep you guys sitting here for 2 hours. That makes no sense.
That's very true.
So we will do this one, and then we will release another episode in the very near future of our 1 and 12 draft. So don't you worry. But Colby, let's get into the draft analysis and what our thoughts are.
I'm a big believer that you do not look at the draft grades. They never are accurate. I mean, I've had plenty of years where that said that I'm a D draft grade and I'll win the championship that year. What this draft grade system is essentially doing is it's taking the ADPs of players and seeing how close you got to them. Now, sometimes if you take a player below their ADP or above, it changes that up and down, whether or not they think you're getting good value or not. That doesn't necessarily mean you're having a bad draft. It doesn't know what strategy you're taking down the road. It's strictly based on value to ADP. This does not reflect the strength of your team. So getting a C+ here, C for Colby, whatever, I'll take it.
Yeah, so you can't see my draft board right now, but I agree with pretty much everything Colby said. I don't think I've ever seen someone win their fantasy with an A+ draft grade. I just don't. No, right now,
they're going by the book picks. It's every pick's by the book.
By the book, what they think you should be doing. If you reach once, your draft grade goes down, and I think that's
100%.
If you reach, those are the gambles that you need to take to win. So I got a C-. I'm okay with it. I kind of hope for a low draft grade, because then every time I do get a low draft grade, I succeed. I'm happy with my team.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. So
And I actually get terrified if I see an A+ ranking.
Oh, yeah.
Because it just never works. I'm like, oh, this is the season. It's gone.
Yeah,
See ya.
I did
Yeah.
something wrong. Something was
Or
wrong
I'm gonna
there.
start trading people because I panic. Like I'm going, and then at least sometimes when you get those A+, it feels good, but at the same time, it never seems to correlate with the regular season. So
The only thing an A+ is good for is talking smack in your group chat after the draft.
yeah,
That's
sometimes we
its
have
value.
competitions. Yeah, we'll have like a drinking game during a draft where it's like whoever has the best grade has to have a drink, and then the guy that got the worst one's got to have two, right? Like it's just something fun like that. But I'm really never overthinking these things whenever I see them. It's the same thing on the other platforms like NFL.com and stuff like that when they grade you. They just don't correlate. Don't panic if you don't like your draft grades. Don't adjust your strategy if you're really set on something.
Yeah, exactly. All right,
So why don't you
Cole.
give us a quick summary of your team there, Mike? And I know we kind of went really in depth with most of our picks there, but just give us a quick summary of what you got there. Give us a list.
Yeah,
And
of
is
course.
it kind of how you hoped to went? And is there anything that you would change?
Honestly, I'm quite happy with my team. So not in any particular, not in the draft order, but from QB to bench. I got Lamar
Sure.
Jackson as my starting quarterback. I got Derrick Henry and James Cook as my two stable running backs. I got JSN and DJ Moore as my wide receivers. I got Njoku as my tight end. I got Adunze as my flex, which I will probably be changing since I have DJ Moore there, but that is okay with me. I got Pittsburgh as my defense, McLaughlin as my kicker. I got Justin Fields as a backup quarterback, Jordan Mason, who I will probably move to my flex depending on Jordan Mason or Tank Bigsby, depending. And then I got I also have Kareem Hunt as my third bench running back, so I'm okay with that. And then I got a Mika Egbuka and Adam Thielen. What about you?
Yeah, really good looking squad on your side. I think that you made appropriate picks at the right time. You actually sniped a couple of my guys. You know, I mentioned before that I really wanted to get that Barkley and Hurts stack. I achieved that. So I have, starting from quarterback to the bench, I've got Hurts at the quarterback, Saquon Barkley. This is going to be a monster stack. Anyone listening to this that has an opportunity to do this, don't shy away from this. This is where you need to be careful because if you miss out on those elite running backs, you're not going to get a possibility of this. These guys are gone. So I got Hurts and Barkley. That was part of the plan. It worked. And then I got Chase Brown. Like my top three picks, like this is a powerhouse in my opinion. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Marvin Harrison, Cortland Sutton in my receiver spots. Both extremely high upside players. Cortland Sutton on a very proven offense. Marvin Harrison's the one that's got a bit more of a question mark there, but the upside is also there. I think that one comes around and works out. Tyler Warren, a high upside pick there at tight end. Whether or not it's Richardson or Daniel Jones that end up with that job, I see a lot of short dump downs there, and Warren's a perfect guy for it. So another safe pick there.
Both
even though he's a
have
rookie,
to do that this year. So
I agree. I think Warren, and you mentioned in the one episode that you thought that Warren should have went higher in the actual NFL draft. I've been hearing that more and more now too, and we're starting to see his ADP climb quite a bit. I think there's a lot of noise coming in camp right now of this guy performing quite well.
Well, even in the game last night, in the very few plays that he played, every ball that was thrown to him, I'm pretty sure got caught, and he made yards, and he also broke a couple tackles. So,
yep. Another safe play for me in my flex spot here. Zay Flowers on a great offense. He's the number one receiver on one of the best offenses in the league. Sure, he's no Jamar Chase, but as a flex player, the number one receiver on one of the top offenses, that's a safe play. I'm super happy with having Zay Flowers in the flex spot there. Kansas City defense is a defense. Unless you're getting one of the top two, don't overthink it too much. Just get someone that's reliable. You can stream week to week if you need to, and if you really.
One thing to say about defense.
Don't overthink the defensive position.
And with what you said about the streaming is one thing to do about defense. If you don't get the defense you want, streaming is such a reliable option because you can always look who's going up against a bad team.
Yeah, and I just highly recommend just looking at odds of games. Like I'm not exaggerating when I say if I'm streaming defenses, I can just go on the Score or whatever Vegas odds app I have, and I can just look. Okay, well, who's favored in the game? Well, are they favored by a lot? Well, you know what? The defense is probably a good pick that week. Maybe they're not normally a high end draft pick in fantasy, but maybe they're heavily favored. Just pick them up, and it's usually an easy win.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
At least it can be.
You might
not
get 5
always.
points
It's
out of them,
NFL, anything can happen. But
at least you're getting positive points.
Yeah. So then going into my kicker, I got Keem Fairbairn, indoor stadium, good offense, reliable dude. He was really good last year. Kickers, another one. Don't overthink kickers. Please don't overthink kickers. Just be smart about them in the sense that get a guy on a good offense. And Mike said warm weather. That's a good idea. Or indoor stadium, one of the two. Other than that, don't overthink it. There's no need to waste time on them. My bench spots, I took some really, really high upside. My bench was strictly for depth and high upside. Travis Hunter. What more do I need to say about this guy that we haven't heard already? Like, the anticipation for the season is huge. I think that Travis Hunter ends up being a great option. Um, Even if I don't get a lot of usage out of him until the mid to late season, so be it. I don't need him. He's in my bench right now. He's not a starting receiver for me. Kyle Pitts, that's joke at me if you want, but like as a backup right now, I don't need to play him. So, if high upside guy, if things work out for him,
we knew you were going to draft him. We can move
we
on. You got it.
Everyone knows I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it again. So, like, you've been warned, world. But I mean, high upside guy on the bench, I don't need to rely on him. And if either Warren or him end up being half decent, I can trade one of them, right, for more. And then this is my favorite pick right now is Matthew Golden, where I got him. I think you're going to have to reach to get Matthew Golden right now. The hype is too real. There's a lot of videos of this guy just absolutely torching guys on defense. Now, I always worry sometimes that, like, okay, well, is the video clip I'm watching of some 6th round DB from Appalachian State or something like that? Like, I don't know, right? But the point is that there's a lot of noise about this guy right now. You're going to have to reach. Don't try and get crafty. If you want this guy on your team, take him a couple rounds earlier, a round and a half minimum, because someone's gonna be having the same thought I had. So high upside guy there, JJ McCarthy, very reliable backup running back in my opinion. We haven't seen him, but quarterback. Sorry, we haven't seen much from McCarthy. Great offense and an offense built for QBs. Again, a high upside backup. Jerome Ford, we discussed him earlier about the Judkins situation. Again, could be a bit of a risky play here. But again, as we've always said, you want to have at least 2, maybe 3 bench spots at your home run swinging, but they're reliable.
Yeah.
Jerome Ford's likely going to be the starter for the first few weeks. And if this Judkins situation pans out, you might be having an RB1 that you get that late in the draft. Keaton Mitchell, this is as big of a home run swing as you can get. High upside guy. We'll just see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Colby, that's all we have time for. But before we go,
that was fun. Good job, Mike. That's a good team there.
You too. On our next episode, I guess we're going to be doing another mock draft here. Colby at the 1 position in a full PPR draft, and me at the 12.
Let's go. Everyone says the number 1's the hardest. Everyone says 1's the hardest, but I'm taking it.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.